Hey guys, what's up? Pimmarthrow here, and welcome back to Let's Play Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. In the last episode, Grail died. That was pretty much the only important thing that happened. But in all seriousness, Alencia is pretty much safe. She's been escorted into the Gallian capital, and we set up camp outside of that area in Castle Gabal, if I remember correctly. Which was not really that important, but basically the point is we had to stay behind while still in Gallia's borders while they prepared rooms for us to actually stay in. But in the meantime, Grail was actually slain by the hands of the Black Knight, and so now with Chapter 8, Despair and Hope, we're kind of left in the aftermath of this. We're going to really see where the fallout begins. And no, it is not in New Vegas, I'm sorry. So right here you get a little bit of cutscene. This is back, and they'll mention this prior, Ike's family, Grail, Mist, and Elena was, I think, her name? Ike's mom? Actually lived in Gallia, and this is the same place where Grail was attacked by the Black Knight, or killed by the Black Knight, whatever you want to call it. This is the exact same spot, and this is Grail teaching Ike how to use a sword. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's a wooden stick, or non-existent, as the cutscene may have it. And so Grail uses the shove command on him, and Ike falls right back over. He goes in and starts whacking again, and Grail mentions, he's like, yeah, you know, you've got potential, kid. You're gonna go far, kid, with 1,000 lies and a good disguise. This is also another beautiful picture right here. It's sad, but, like, it looks really pretty. So the fallout is Ike's kind of just, like, half disbelieving, and he's actually not, I think at one point they mentioned, like, he can't even cry, like, he wants to, but doesn't have the ability to. Mist is pretty much the complete opposite, though. She is a complete wreck at this point, which, of course, you know, they did just lose their only remaining parent, so she's got every right to be. Now, I don't know if they actually buried him right here or not. I mean, it doesn't look like it was an overturned area, but that's where the axe is. So, as his father instructed, he will be the one to lead the company. Mist is pretty much against this, because of course in doing that, there's a good chance he could get hurt as well, but that's, you know, part of leading a mercenary group. So, Chapter 8, Despair and Hope. And that hope sounded really funny right then, because I was about to take a drink, so it sounded like hoop. So at this point, Mist is resting in a room with Reese and Rolf looking over her and make sure she's alright. So he gives a slight amount of thanks for the quote-unquote real second-in-command at this point to Tanya, and also Soren, who's sort of your tactician in these later chapters, kind of, in helping as much as he can. Everybody else, you know, Boyd, Oscar, and the like. Well, Boyd and Oscar are both back. And Boyd's more than a little frustrated, and the reason why, because I mentioned this last chapter, is both Shinnon and Gautry have left us. And yeah, they left because, I don't know why Gautry left. Like, Shinnon obviously didn't like Ike, but if you actually, like, talk to between Gautry and Ike in that last chapter, like, they always seem to be on pretty good terms. I feel like Shinnon kind of talked Gautry into leaving with him as well. So yeah, Titania said Ike would be the new commander, and then Shinnon just about exploded. But yeah, I don't really know why Gautry left. I honestly think he got talked into it, because he and Ike always seem to be on good terms. Tried to talk things out, but it was a waste of time. And yeah, pretty much, they all knew Ike was going to be the person to inherit the mercenary group. It just happened a lot sooner than they had expected. I don't know where Mia is in all this. She stays with you, but I don't know where she is in the cutscene right here. But, you know, whatever. After all we've been through together. He has no intention of giving up command. So yes, he is in fact going to assume command, so he is the official leader now of the Grail Mercenaries, like he is in Radiant Dawn. If you're wondering what happened to Grail, well, now you know, and now you know how it happened. Because I actually played Radiant Dawn first, so whenever I got to watch this, you know, I got to watch the story with Ike grow, and it was actually quite nice. So everybody else is going to stay with you. Titania will stay, Oscar, Boyd, Soren, everybody else is going to stay with you. Mia included. Shin and Gautry will be the only two that will leave you. Mist is asleep, thankfully. Yeah, Mist missed the conversation, but yeah, he had a pretty good idea of figuring out what was going on. What do you mean? You're like one of the few good characters from the mercenary group. I don't use Reese or Titania or Boyd. You, Oscar, and Ike are like in the starting mercenary group are really all I have. One of the few times you get to see Soren smile in that portrait. It's actually really cool. So he's gonna try his best. Tell me everything. Oh no, Ike, why did you say that? There's a lot to go over the supply convoy, so I'm going to try to go through these cutscenes as fast as I can. I know it's kind of like, you know, you're losing a little bit of the fallout and what have you, but, I mean, there's a lot to go over in the supply convoy. After I do it in this chapter, though, I will explain something that I'm adding. So I would watch it for this first video, even if you played before, just to show you how it'll work in video format, because after this, there's going to be the convoy part. It's going to be in every single chapter, so I'm going to explain how I'm going to do that. I know I said tell me everything, but this is too much. I like how they're always like, yeah, I'll take over. No, I'll take over. It's like, dude, you're just sitting around waiting. I don't know what you're taking over exactly, but whatever. So, at this point, the first thing I'd like to say is we do have our supply convoy. As you can see, there's quite a few different things. We've got outfit, which is where you can manage and buy your weapons, etc. Manage is where you can award your EXP and skills. Support, which is support conversations. We'll get into in a second. Info, save, and end. Now, this is going to happen, like I said, from every chapter from here on out. I would like you guys to watch the first one, but what I'm going to do starting later on is I'm going to say, since the videos are going to be longer because of this, I'm going to put not even an annotation, but I'll put something like on the screen at the start of each video saying, skip to this point if you want to just go directly to the fight. Keep in mind, in doing that, you might be missing around me switching items, me using bonus experience and skills, so you might be missing quite a bit. But if you're going by your own playstyle and just kind of want to know more about the in the map, then rather than just follow the characters that I'm using, then you might want to consider skipping. Just keep in mind that you might be missing stuff that is legitimately important. So, with that being said, for this first one, I would recommend watching, which is why it's not there. But let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I always do whenever I come into the convoy is I check the info screen. This is where you'll have conversations throughout the story, and the rank from 1 star to 3 and how important they are. 1 star is pretty much just talking about the story a little bit. 2 stars will usually give you some kind of advantage in the next fight, like they'll tell you how the fight's going to work. They'll indirectly mention it, like, yeah, I'm trying to play this board game with my friend, and I'm not sure how I get past this person without killing him. And it's like, yeah, just use the shove command, and, you know, that's designed to give you an leg up. In the case of Merchant right here, it's actually letting you know how the merchants work and what have you, so. If it is 3 stars, then that means either a character will be joining you, or you'll be picking up a weapon or item of some sort. So, with this one right here, we have the caravan. This is where the weapons and items will be bought. Mustin will sell you your weapons, and Amy will sell you your items. That's pretty much it. They're not terribly important characters, but you know, it is important to have the ability to do that. Here we have George. He's the person that you sell your items to if you don't need them. And lastly, you have Daniel. He does made to order. He can do a custom forging, which you can only do once per base. But you can forge like a really, really strong weapon there if you want to. It's going to cost a lot, but it's very nice. Lastly, they'll also act as a storage, which will carry your extra things, which is very, very nice. So with that, let's move on to Unknown. These conversations aren't terribly important right here. This is just Titania kind of grieving in the forest. And Ike's just kind of like, This is awkward. Don't let her see you. This is probably one of my favorite 1-star conversations here. What's going on, Ralph? Oh, Ike, if you're wondering about Miss, she just fell asleep. Really? Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you, Ralph. It's alright, I don't mind. It's getting late. You should get yourself to bed. I will, but, what is it? Miss is just fine. You're here, Ike, so she's just fine. I mean, she's gonna be just fine. Huh? That's all. Well, good night. It's just kind of like a sweet little tender moment with Rolf. Oh, no, don't skip Boyd's. Now, you can only view these once, so, I mean, if you go back, it's going to be like, yeah, you already viewed this conversation. There's no need for you to view it again, which is kind of dumb. I wish they didn't do that, but what are you going to do? Boyd, how do you feel about this? About me being commander? And basically, he says, I know what you can do and what you can't. I don't know if I want you to get in charge if things get really dangerous, but on the other hand, this is what Grail wanted. He's got faith in you, therefore I have faith in you. So it's kind of the point where you go from, like, them just messing around with each other, being, like, really stupid, trying to fight each other. They're, like, friendly rivals at this point. So you get a little bit of backstory between the three brothers. Basically, whenever Rolf was born, that was around the time their mother died. Oscar had to get a discharge from the Crimean Knights, and he had to come home, and they had to support Rolf that way. And that's when Grail found them, and they, took him into the mercenary group. I'm assuming at that point, Oscar could probably fight, and Boyd was probably getting relatively close to that, so it's not about obligation, so they're family. Hooray! I know, this one's cheesy. I like Rolf's a lot better. It's a lot more indirect. This one's just really corny. I can't make it not sound corny, and as much as I don't mind cheeseball moments, I can't do them myself. It's too bad. So lastly we have Reese. This is where Reese is praying, and Reese is actually very torn about it. They're kind of like off and on with how Reese feels about it. Like, sometimes he's really hard and he's crying right here, and then sometimes he's, really okay. But at this point, he says, I can't seem to cry at all. If you could shed a tear for me, too, I'd be grateful. He's like, I'd be honored. You're a good man, Reese, even if I probably will never use you in any other fights after this next one. Alright, so next, now that we've gone through info, we have supports. Supports are basically whenever your units... will it actually mention something? Support relations with trading. Well, okay, so what happens is throughout different fights you'll have units fight side by side. We've seen this multiple times. As this happens, if there's somebody they can build support with, then they will be able to do so on this screen here. So as you can see, Ike can form supports with Titania, Oscar, Soren, and a couple other characters that we haven't seen. Titania's got some with Ike, Reese, and Boyd. Soren's only got it with Ike right now, so on and so forth. As more characters go on, you'll see more of them. And you'll see conv left in the bottom. It says 5, 5, etc. They're all going to say 5 right now. So you can only form so many supports, and they'll start out at C, and then they'll go up to D. They'll go up to B, and then A. So it'll be CBA. So you can only have one A support with a character. Like, I can only have an A support with Oscar, but he won't be able to have one with Soren. Or he can have a support with Titania at A, but he can't have one at A with Oscar. So you have to choose who you want to use. The supports will give you a small bonus in battle, depending on if you're close enough. If you're within like 3 tiles, it'll give you a small bonus. Even at A, I haven't found it too important, but it does help a little bit in your accuracy department. And the little things on the side right here that are next to Titania, Oscar, Soren's name, those are elements. So depending on what support is formed will depend on what the bonuses are. So if you look at Ike, his is Earth, so Ike and Oscar are both Earth ones. Soren's Dark, Titania's is Fire. Or what is Titania's? That might be Heaven, actually. But there's a lot of different affinities, which is what I believe they're called. You've got, like, Earth. You've got the typical 4. You have Earth, Fire, Wind, and Water. You've got Dark and Light. You have Heaven, and then you have a couple other ones. Lightning is another one. The supports aren't terribly important for this game. They might be if you're playing on a really high difficulty, but even on hard, I didn't use them that much. I am going to go ahead and work on the support with Oscar. And some characters' endings will change if you get an A support with a certain other character. I believe in Ike's case it's Soren, but you can form them however you want, really. Just make sure that in order for them to be effective, you have to have both of those units on the field. So, like, I wouldn't form them with Titania in my case, because I know I'm not going to be using her for the entire game. With Oscar, I know I'm going to be using him the entire game. So, that's how it works. And each support will kind of just have them have a little bit of a conversation. These are a lot better in this game than they were in Radiant Dawn. In Radiant Dawn, they were like pretty much all the same supports, and that happened on the field instead of like having this conversation. That's how you build the supports. And the conversations would be all the same. They would just substitute the name in. These are all individual ones, which is really cool. So what you have right here is Oscar talking about his cooking. My brother's used to my cooking. Soren hates everything. He'd stop eating if he could. Commander Grail, Titania got you, and you ate everything on the plate. I feel like you'd eat anything. I probably would eat anything. When the first day the mist took over your cooking, dude, he's just thinking about it makes me ill. I hit D. He said even my father had trouble stomaching that one. So Mist is trying to work on it. And there you go. So, supports aren't terribly important. You'll just get them as time goes on. Every time this is green, just check it out, see who's got supports with what. And, you know, I don't find them terribly important. Some people think they're really cool, and they are kind of cool. But unless you're on, like, a really high difficulty, they're not going to impact your game that much. Next, let's go to outfit. We've got some items that we need to store and whatnot, so we're going to start by putting everything in convoy. Whenever you select a character, you'll have trading. You can trade with whoever you want. You can list the items sorted by category. You can give them all to the convoy. Put one in the convoy. You can equip stuff, unequip it, drop, which is just removing it. You can use it if it's an item like a speed wing, or you can go to the shop, and then going to the shop, you can go either to the armory where you can buy your weapons. Shop is for your items, selling items, which I would never drop an item at this point. I would always sell it. Unless you can't, because there are some items you can't sell. And lastly, Forge, which I've already mentioned what that does, and I'll be using Forge. The chapter after this, I'll be using the Forge, probably. So, first and foremost, let's go ahead and put the stuff that we don't need into the convoy. This right here will just show you exactly how much you had in excess that you really didn't need. We'll keep ward on him, I guess. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'm not going to do put the mage band on the combo. I'm just going to trade that directly over to Soren and have him equip it. Okay, so at this point, 3 swords. Everything. His iron sword's running kind of low, but aside from that, he's okay. So he's not in any danger. What you basically want to do here, whenever it comes to setting up your characters, is really just make sure, and I'm going to put a lot of vulneraries on, make sure that their vulneraries, that they've got at least 2 uses left. If they've got one, add another one. So make sure that they've got at least 1 good healing item, and probably 2, maybe 3 good weapons if you can. So I'm going to add more spells to Soren here in a second. Aside from that, everybody else looks alright. I don't want another javelin for Oscar. Well, I got to find out if there is one first and foremost. So let's go ahead and go to the armory. In later games, or in Radiant Dawn in particular, the shop would actually sell your magic spells. Here, they're only going to sell you healing items, stabs of some kind, and other items like, for example, pure water. This will, it's like a temporary resistance booster, kind of like the ward staff is. I don't ever use the pure waters, but if you want to, you can. I don't find them terribly important. So, the armory, we do have javelins, so that's good to know. And then you've got your basic spells down here. There's hand axe, some other types of axes, and these will change constantly. Like, sometimes you'll have a steel sword in here, you know. They'll change as time goes on, and there'll be more things available as time goes on. Just check in every now and again, because, like, later on, maybe Elwind will be in here in the next chapter, which is the next wind spell, but it might not be the chapter after that. So, just go ahead and check and see what's around. So, I'm going to go ahead and stock Soren up on fire spells here, just to make sure, because fire is what I'm going to be using him for. So, I think he's still at weapon level E with that, so that should get him nice and equipped very well. Elfire's not going to come into use for a while. The last boss had it, but that's about it. Reese, we're going to leave use is. Oscar, I'm going to go ahead and... Wait, no, I didn't want to do that. Take that back out. I was trying to put this in here. I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a javelin just in case. I don't think it's going to be an issue. I'm going to try to use the short spear for this upcoming fight. And you'll see why, because the position I put Oscar in requires him to use range a decent amount. So that's probably what I'll be using. Mia, I think I'm going to leave you as is for now. You got the Armor Slayer and the Iron Sword, which should hopefully be enough. If I've got another Steel Sword, I would like for her to have it, but I don't think I do. I do not. We'll go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and put one more Iron Sword in you just in case. If you get an item at this point, instead of asking you if you want to drop it, it'll ask which one you want to send to the convoy. So you can stack up on these if you want to. It's not going to be the end of the world. Do I want Boyd to have... No, I'll leave it on Titania, so I'll just take both of these. You can always sell them if you don't want to. That looks good for outfit. Lastly, I have Manage, which is award EXP and skills. As I mentioned with the skills, I'll start here. Each character has their own skill. Titania has counter, which I don't think we ever went over. Basically, occasionally whenever she takes damage, she'll do half of that damage back automatically. I don't really like that skill because you have to take damage in order to receive, or in order to actually use it. Adept, we talked about. We also have Tempest on board and Serenity on Reese. These are basically opposites of each other. As you've noticed with Biorhythm, I haven't talked a lot about it, but whenever characters Biorhythms on this wave, whenever that little yellow dot is up higher, they perform slightly better than they do when it's lower. For Boyd, what Tempest will do is it will double the effects of Biorhythm, so he'll do really well when his Biorhythm's high and really bad when his Biorhythm is low. And Reese has the opposite, Serenity. This will have the Biorhythm effects. In later games, the Biorhythm actually had different waves, and so some would be like really close together, some would be really far apart. But in this case, it's not. If you actually know any mathematics, this technically sort of looks like the it looks like a sine or cosine, like how you would graph it on a line. This is what it would look like. But really, Biorhythm's not terribly important. But if you see like one character that's typically got really good accuracy, all of a sudden it's just really bad, that might be what it is. If you can't pinpoint it down to anything else, it's probably the Biorhythm. As for skills, you can remove them, but keep in mind, if I remove Counter right now, I cannot put it back on. It will be gone forever, unlike it will be in Radiant Dawn. I do have Miracle to assign, but I'm going to save that for another character that we're going to get at the start of the next chapter, so I'm not going to use it right now. So, lastly, we have Award EXP. This is where you can award your bonus experience. The bonus experience is gotten by different things, as you've already seen. At this point, you can pretty much put it on whoever you want. Primarily, I would like to put it on... I'd like to get everybody to level 10 and then use probably the rest of it on Oscar. I don't know how much we have. We've had a pretty decent amount, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get Soren up to 10. Ike's pretty far ahead, so well, if I've got a bunch extra, then I'll probably reassign more to Soren and Mia. But for this fight, I would like Oscar to be really high leveled compared to some of the other people because he's in a really rough position on the field. Now in Radiant Dawn, using bonus experience, the most you could gain from each level was 3 stats, so you could get like HP, Strength, and Magic, but you were only getting 3 maximum. In this game, you can award it just like it's any other experience on the battle. You can get more than 3 things from it. Which it is not doing a good example of showing now, but we'll see it in a second, because I'm going to put a lot of levels into Oscar. I'm going to get him at least to 14. But I will prove that you can get more than 3 stats. As soon as the level ups start working in my favor, then we'll actually see them in action. I would appreciate it. I would appreciate strength primarily. Speed would be nice, but strength primarily. Come on, you can do it, Oscar. You can only assign them in sets of 100 at a time, which is kind of weird, because in Radiant Dawn, you can just put as much or as little as you want at once. There we go, that's a good example. That's more than 3, 5. I'm going to put one more level in. Okay, then I'm going to stop and I'm going to go back to Soren and Mia. My next bet would probably be Soren, maybe? Okay, strength isn't as high as I would like. I'd like 1 or 2 more points, but speed is good. So I think I can get these both to 11. And then once I get them to 11, I'll just look at it and see how much experience I have left. I might be able to get them both to 12, actually. I might just stick it on Oscar again, just to spite the game. No, don't take him to 12 yet. Make sure Soren can get there first and foremost. I'm not using any on Boyd, Reese, or Titania, and I probably won't on Ike either, because he's pretty high up there level-wise right now, and he's doing fine the way he is. And not that any other units are doing bad, but you do want to use this bonus experience. If you know for a fact there's a unit later on that will do really good and it will really benefit it, you can use it now, or you can save it for later. But you don't have to. You're not going to lose it or anything like that. Okay, so they're both at 12. Or no, she's 11. Yeah, okay, that was weird. Okay, now they're both at 12. I might save the rest of this experience, though. Double digits for strength, that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm not going to use Boyd unless I absolutely have to, but he's really close to level, so we'll give him a point in HP. Just because I feel sorry for him. That's the first level he's gotten in this playthrough, and it will probably be the last. You can see why I would say, skip to this point, though. Ooh, that was a good level. Very nice. Everything but speed. Oh, look at that. Alright, get her done. Okay, they're both at 15, these two are both at 12. I'm going to be using Titania a little bit, and Reese will probably be there healing, but aside from that, we look good. Yep, everything looks alright. Okay, So once you're done with your preparations, go ahead and save before the fight actually starts, because if you don't save and then you have to like restart or your game auto restarts or whatever, you're going to have to do all that again. So I am going to save after each point on there. But now that that has been taken care of, I know that was really long, we're going to go ahead and start the fight. This might be split into 2 parts, I'm not sure. I know that one took a long time because I was explaining stuff. Later on I'll just be doing it basically. But that's just how that works in effect. If there's something like super important that I'm like, yeah, you need this for this level, then I will probably tell you in the actual fight. Just fair warning about that. Okay, so now that we're actually at the fight, bad news, look at the window! And spoiler alert, every chapter has a fight. That guy's just looking around. No, it's a squad of damn soldiers. Yeah, if they've come this far, I'm sure getting out of here alive was never one of their priorities. Yep, they got us surrounded. Now this is a map that I used to hate, and now I actually love it. Like, this is probably one of my favorite maps. I legitimately enjoy the defend maps. There's one in Radiant Dawn that I used to hate because it was, for me, it was like one of the hardest maps, but I love it now. It's in like, it's the one where you're defending with the actual Dayan units in that game. So we'll talk about that when we actually go and replay Radiant Dawn. But for now, Mist Rolf, well, no, Lindsay's not here. Mist and Rolf will be safe inside of here. The medallion's glowing, so you get to see this 5-second cutscene. Hooray! I wonder if that medallion could possibly be important to the story. Probably not. But yes, this is very much a defense-based mission right here, and this is one of my favorites in the game right here in Gubal Castle. Grow Mercenaries move out. Yeah, they don't really give you much of a strategy here, but it's not anything too terrible. As for repositioning, we've got 8 turns of defense. If you want to look around the board, there's kind of just Crimean soldiers everywhere. There's some coming from the south side, some from the east and west side. So there's nothing from the north, though, because you can't get in through the north. So there's 3 entrances you need to really block off in order to defend. This one that's kind of right here, this one that's on the south end right here, and then also the end right here. So you really only have to have 3 people to defend. So you could use essentially Oscar, Ike, and Titania. You could use Boyd if you wanted to. You could use me if you wanted to. With the exception of Soren and Rees, you can use pretty much anybody you want to. So you've got plenty of defenders. So what I'm going to do here is for blocking the right side, and thusly I will put them on the right side, I'm going to use Titania and Soren, because there's a lot of knight units here, so Soren will be very good at getting kills there. You just have to watch out for the archers. On the south side, I'm going to have Oscar block that off. Boyd might offer a little bit of support, but I doubt he will be actually doing anything. And then lastly, Ike and Nia will cover this one spot right here. Rees will just kind of move around this center area and heal as needed. So that's pretty much the strategy here. I don't think there's anything else I need to go over. It is another defend mission. We've already done one of these before. It's 8 turns of defense instead of 6 like it was last time. But if you look at the conditions are still the same as you can expect. Defeat is if Ike dies or if the enemy seizes that location. You can view the map, which I already talked about. There is 1 unit to recruit, but she is pretty late in the chapter. She will not attack you, Ileana. She is going to go down the left-hand side right here and go to this area, which is why I put Ike over there. While she will not attack, you do need to recruit her by talking to her. She will not come to you. She'll move towards you, but not outright talk to you. So you do need to talk to her with Ike rather than accidentally killing her. But she will not actually make a move to attack you. We'll get into her stats when we actually recruit her. Aside from that, let's go ahead and start the fight. Alright, so like I said, first things first, let's move Titania right here. And equip the hammer to deal with these knights, and then we'll put Soren directly behind her. As for this setup right here, a lot of these guys, or by a lot I mean 2, but that's enough to be of a nuisance. This guy right here and this guy right here both have javelins, which are ranged weapons, so plan here is to move Oscar right there, and equip the short spear on him, move the javelin down. I don't think I ever talked about this, but should the weapon that you have equipped break, like for example right now the short spear, the next weapon that will be automatically equipped onto your character will be the next one down the line, so in this case it'll be the javelin, which is why I put it below the short spear. But this is what I'm going to be using primarily to attack these guys from a range, because they're probably going to be doing that quite a bit. And if it breaks, which it likely will, then we'll just move straight to the javelin. So we'll set him here. Boyd and Rees will leave where they are for right now. We'll move Ike over here. There is a knight unit, and he can actually reach, believe it or not. Sorry if you can hear that obnoxious train going in the background. We're going to switch to the Regal Sword, so we've got the bonus effect against an armored unit. And you'll notice he actually cannot get you right here, so we can move me right here, but we don't have to switch to the armor square. So I'll probably just stick with the iron sword and leave her like that. Reese, I'll probably just move down a square. That's pretty much it. You could use the ward staff if you wanted to. Really, the only mages are going to show up on the right-hand side of the screen, which there are 2 of them right here, and I think a couple reinforcements show up around this area as well. But you really don't need the ward staff terribly, so I'm just going to move Reese down 1 and wait, and end my turn. So the primary reason I leveled up Oscar was for this part right here, because I want to try to get rid of these knight units as soon as possible. The boss, which you might have seen, was an armored unit that was down towards the southeast area. And he will move, but he will not move until you get in range. Otherwise, he will not come and attack you, but he does have a very valuable item, which is one of the bands. It's a soldier band. This is one that you can miss should you choose not to fight the boss, but I would like to try to get it away from him. So optimally, once the area is cleared out pretty securely of all the enemies, Oscar and also Titania with her hammer weapon will go over there and try to defeat him that way. But that's not for a couple turns. That probably won't happen until about turn 5 or 6. For now, it's more playing defensively than offensively. Now, while this unit does have a javelin, the other 3 knights will not. He will not make a move to attack Soren, I think, because he doesn't have the range to do so. And the archers will, though, attack Soren. There's one that has a longbow, which actually can fire from 2 or 3 squares away, so he will be able to reach Soren, which will probably be his target. Should you move Reese behind Soren, he will attack Reese instead, because I guess Reese has lower defense technically. That's probably why he goes after him. But just make sure you take out the longbow archer as fast as you can as well. Now, you don't have to have Titania get these kills. If you want to take it a bit slower and let Soren get the experience, you're more than welcome to. But I'm going to try to make sure that I can get that soldier band from the boss, because I am going to try to use the soldier in question in this game. So, technically, these all qualify soldier, but I'm referring to the soldier class. Those are obviously knights, so. The first turns will move a little bit slowly. Yeah, there goes that longbow archer. I'll be sure to kill him next turn. And since he attacked from 3 squares away, Soren can actually not counterattack him. Soren will be able to counterattack this guy, though. Hopefully twice, right? Yeah, good. Get him out of here. Jerk. So I'll have Reese heal next turn, because that Myrmidon's not going to be able to do anything. The mages probably wouldn't do any damage to Soren at all. Here comes that knight. Honestly, it feels like the hardest part of this area would be getting rid of the knights. If you can get rid of them, you're pretty much set, because they're the only ones that have high defense, and you've got weapons that can take care of them. You got 2 different swords, the hammer weapon, and you've all hopefully, if you've leveled them up, you also have Soren as well to take care of them. So you got plenty of ways to get rid of them. So let's move Mia up, and Armor Slayer can get rid of him. Yeah, we'll get rid of him with this. I'll take care of him. I'm going to move 1 space forward, but I am not going to move right there, because then he could just go past me. Soren, we will heal you. And actually what I'm going to do is get rid of this knight and have Soren attack that archer. Because Soren should be able to take it out in 1 round. He's probably going to get hit again by it, but he should be able to attack twice in 1 turn compared to him. Yeah, no problem. He's going to do 8 damage. That's not too bad. That mage won't be able to do anything, and the Myrmidon won't have any range, so. Well, if only you'd gotten that critical first round, you could have avoided the damage, but oh well. So we get the longbow. You can take a look at it real quick. Obviously, we can't use it right now. We don't have an archer, but this is what it looks like stat-wise. I'm not a giant fan of them. They're kind of nice to have. I didn't use them at all in my first couple playthroughs because, you know, their accuracy was terrible. They're nice to have if you're just out of range for something and you want to try to take a pot shot at it with a really good archer, but aside from that, I really don't use them for a main weapon for a bow. You can give them a shot if you want, though. Okay, so did we take care of the guy with the javelin? We got 1 of them. The other one's still hanging around, so how many uses does this have left on it? 4? Most of these guys are about dead. Boy doesn't have a ranged weapon, does he? He does not. Yeah, let's just go ahead and... Well, no, they're going to just heal. I need to make up my mind here. I'm going to try to get rid of this guy because I've got lower odds against getting him. There we go. At least Oscar is still at full health, so I don't have to worry about that. Boyd's just kind of there to trade out with somebody that gets in serious trouble that Reese can't reach right away. Which probably will not happen, but it is a possibility. This is the unfortunate part, though. These dumbasses are just going to go back and forth and heal. And there is a healer down there as well they can always go to. The healer will drop a regim if you beat him, actually, so I'd like to be able to get out there to kill him, but if I can't, well, then I can't. In theory, though, if I can go and get to the boss and kill him, I should be able to get to the healer to kill him, so. I'm about done on this right-hand side, thankfully. Mage is going to come attack. Yep. That should do probably about 2 or 3. Yep, 3 damage. The right side is still a little bit cluttered, but it's not awful yet. I forgot to switch his weapon. Oh well. Yeah, the fighter's not a problem. It might take you 2 rounds to get rid of him, but he's probably not going to hit either one of your sword-based units. That healer just made a gigantic mistake by standing right there. Okay, so first things first, let's switch to the Iron Sword to get rid of you. I've never had an issue on this left-hand side with, let's go ahead and heal, actually. She's got Vantage. She's going to go first. Anyways, I was saying, I've never had an issue with Ileana not making it into 8 turns to where Ike is. That's never been a problem, so you don't really have to worry about that. But if it was a concern, then you don't have to worry about it at all. No, I want to make sure I can get this guy. Awesome. Okay, he's gone. I'll take that red gem. That can be used to... It's literally, its only purpose is to be sold for money. But it sells for, I think, 2,500. 2,500 for the reds, 5,000 for a blue, and 10,000 for a white. The whites are pretty uncommon. The reds you'll see now and again, and the blues are relatively uncommon, but every little bit helps, so might as well take it. Level up, very nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and knock out the healer, actually. I'd rather get rid of him, to be honest. That one won't drop anything. I believe the only healer that has anything that will drop is that one at the bottom that I just killed with Oscar. Is there another one hanging around here? Yeah, him. Oh, he drops a Pure Water. I really don't care about those, though. Pure Water is just something kind of like the Ward Staff. It will temporarily increase your resistance, and then it will drop by 1 for each turn until it goes back to normal. I'm not a big fan of using items like that. Like, if you need to use something like that, I would use the Ward Staff, and I wouldn't waste a turn for an attacking unit using that. Unless you, like, really need to avoid a bonus damage effect of a mage or something like that, then I wouldn't bother. 8 or higher. Yes. I don't know how much health that guy with the axe has. Alright, get that point in strength. Come on, bring it up to 12. Yes! Awesome. You can see now why I leveled up Oscar, because you want him to have a good speed stat, good enough to double these guys, and a good strength stat, enough to try to get him out in 1 round. If you can do that, you're pretty much golden with that short spear. I'm willing to bet he did that probably because he thought that Soren would not be able to kill him in 1 round, but since Soren got adept, he's actually going to go 3 times, so he will beat him. Thanks for the experience, though. I appreciate it. He's going to do the same thing. Even if Soren doesn't get adept, he'll take him out next turn. So that's enough for a level for him. So that right side's pretty much cleared off. There are going to be reinforcements, however, they're pretty minor. They usually only attack you like 1 at a time, so Soren can probably take care of them by himself. And there's Vantage working at its finest, so Mia doesn't have to take unnecessary damage. Yeah, that Armor Slayer's not quite light enough for her to be able to double with. let's knock you out. Once again, I'm brought with the same issue here. This guy actually will not die, though, regardless. I think we're safe to do this. Because I already healed with Reese. No, I did not heal with Reese, actually. Okay, I should be able to get him over here, then. Because what I'm thinking is if a soldier or Myrmidon comes to attack her, she shouldn't kill him in one round. Unless she gets a critical, then she would. But hopefully she will not. Soren can get rid of this guy. No problem. So, yeah, the right-hand side's pretty much clear at this point. Here's the boss if you want to take a look at him real quick. So I'm going to run to Tanya down here and switch to the hammer. And go ahead and heal, just in case. I don't think this guy's going to do a lot of damage, but you never know, he might. Are you guys low on health? This guy is. Let's just go ahead and deal with these guys now. I'm surprised Boyd had 100% accuracy. I know he had the weapon triangle advantage, but even so. Their speed's 8, what's his? 7? I guess that's not bad. That's still kind of surprising, though. Oscar needs to get a little bit patched up, but I can just use a vulnerary on him next turn. Is there anybody else hanging around down here besides the boss? No, there's not. Okay. We'll stick him right here. Keep him out of the range of the boss. Oh, right. He's got a ranged weapon. I should have switched to hand axe. Okay, 10. That's not bad. Yeah, she's not going to beat him. Which is good. I didn't want her to. Because otherwise somebody else would have come up and hit her and that would have killed her, so. Man, that stupid healer. I gotta kill him. I gotta reach him first. Yeah, some extra little reinforcements here and there, but that's not a big deal. Alright, let's get you out of here. Nice. Can't even get him with that. Okay. I'll put you back to full health. Let's go with the iron sword. You do have to be careful with Mia on this chapter. Like, she will get beat up on this left-hand side pretty bad by the lance users. The Myrmidon, not too much. And even though her speed stat is high, remember the Myrmidon are going to have high speed as well. That was a really good level. I would have liked strength, but aside from that, that was a pretty dang good level up. Okay, so 21. That'll take him down pretty low. Firstly, though, I'm going to get rid of these guys. Try to get closer to the boss here. I'll move Boyd back here just in case. Let's go ahead and do this. If reinforcements should appear at the start of the next turn near where she is, which hopefully will not happen, then I'll have to heal and Oscar will get the kill, which is fine, but if Oscar can get the kill, he should be able to double that guy, though. Knights don't have high speed, so... Oh good, he actually missed. That makes it a lot better. And the Knights will, I usually go down the left-hand side if I recall correctly, but I'm not 100% certain about that. Good, she can get him next turn. I'm going to kill that healer if he doesn't run off. Okay, good. That one was actually smart enough to get out of the way, unlike the other guy that ran right into the direction where Oscar was standing. Okay, slight reinforcements. Yeah, well, one soldier. Yeah, I'm not worried about him. Alright, let's go ahead and... Well, no, let's kill this guy first, before I forget about him. There we go, problem solved. And heal very quickly. Level 7, that's not bad. And let's go ahead and talk to Ileana. Hey, what's up? Who are you? I'm a traveling mage. My name is Ileana. The castle, oh. Here, you alright? I'm sorry, this rain is so cold. I feel like I'm freezing. You don't look too good. Are you sick? Do you need medicine? You're awfully kind, aren't you? You know, you don't look like any Daean soldier I've ever seen. Are you really one of them, or did they press gang you into service? I was traveling with some merchants, but we got separated. I came here to escape this rain, but some soldiers in black found me. They thought I was a Crimean refugee. Oh? I tried to tell them who I was, but they wouldn't believe me. They said they would put me to the sword if I didn't help fight you. I'm very sorry. Don't apologize, you didn't have any choice. If it had been, well, I didn't get to read that, but, well, I think there was a way. Nope, there is not a way. I thought Start would do that. Well, basically, she joined your side because she is actually, or actually was, not is, but was part of the traveling merchants that we saw, Mustin and Amy. So she agrees to join your side and also agrees to help fight because she's actually a Thunder Mage. Level 6 Thunder Mage, that's what her stats look like. Her stat growths are HP 45%, Strength 25%, Magic 50%, Skill 45%, Speed 30%, Luck 45%, Defense 15%, and Resistance 50%. So she does have a pretty high strength growth for a mage, which actually helps because she won't lose as much attack speed from wielding the spells, which is good because her speed stat's not super high. What else? She has Shade, I believe? Yes, she has Shade for skill. This will cause enemies to attack different units first, so this is also very useful, especially if you pair up with somebody else through the supports. She does have a very good skill growth, which is also good because she uses Thunder Magic, which is the least accurate out of the main 3 that we've seen thus far. There are light spells as well, but they're pretty accurate. I believe they're the most accurate, actually. But Reese is the only person that can use those. Thunder and Elfthunder actually do have a bit of a crit rate on them. Elfthunder's got 10, and Thunder has 5, so they have a decent crit rate on them as well. So they're pretty useful, actually. So I will try to use Ileana. If she gets, like, completely screwed over and, like, by the time she gets to level 10, if she hadn't picked up any good levels, then I might go ahead and ditch her. But we'll see how things play out for now. Let's see. I was going to attack with Oscar. And see if I could get this guy. Steel Lance? There we go. Awesome. I'd rather Oscar get the experience from a boss kill, obviously. And there we go. Adios. Thanks for the level. I'll gladly take that. Not bad. And we got that soldier band. Okay, we'll move back here. I'm not worried about this one solitary soldier with 2 health. He might run away anyway. Go ahead and knock this guy out. Thankfully, while they do swarm you with a lot of units, they're not incredibly powerful. They could be in groups, but when they're by themselves like that, they're no threat whatsoever. I don't know. I don't think the knights have actually moved. Well, in that case, I'm just going to end my turn. No, they are actually going to go down this way. Okay. That guy's going to attack. Yeah, 1 damage. Nice. See you later. Or not, since you died. And there's a couple cavalry units. You don't really need it that desperately, but we'll go ahead and heal you anyway. Alright, so the left side's pretty much golden. I don't think they're going to be able to reach us. Out of curiosity, how much damage is this guy going to do if I attack him? 4? I might as well. Well, he can probably get me from here. Yeah, he can. What about this guy? Iron Lance? Yeah, it's going to take him another turn to get down there. I might attack him with these two. We'll see. Could this guy reach Mia? No, he could not. Oscar, let's see. Oscar's actually pretty low in health, so we're going to run him back and heal. And that should be more than enough. There's Titania back in the spot she was at. What do you guys have for range? Put Soren just outside of range, or as close as he can get, and maybe he might get one of the kills from those guys, because there's nobody going over on this right-hand side of the map right now, so no point in keeping him there when he has a chance for experience. Okay, good, he missed. We might actually get to see Ileana attack, because if I can't get this guy, then I'll probably have Ileana go after him. No damage, nice. I knew Oscar had high defense, I didn't realize it was that high at this point, though. This guy might not do any damage either. 1, well, that's hardly any better. No, Oscar's gonna take them both out. Okay. That's fine with me. I mean, that's pretty nice when you can have a unit fight another type like his, and between two of them that both made contact with their attacks, they only did 1 damage collectively. That's pretty good. Hi. Bye. I love it. Man, he is getting up there. I didn't realize he was at 18 either. He's pretty close to a class change, which is going to be really nice. But if you remember at the start of the game, whenever I said if you look at Oscar's stats when he gets to Paladin level 1, it's going to be higher than Titania's. Look, 13, 3, 15, 15, 9, 13, and 3. So, like, for his important stats, they're around 13 to 15. And then you look at Titania, who's a level 2 Paladin, and it's like 12, 13, 14, 12, 11. So they're pretty similar. And once he gets the class change, which improves all your stats by a pretty decent amount, and at that point, he's going to pretty much have, he's going to be past her at that point. Okay, so let's go ahead and knock this guy out, or get close. If not, Ileana can take him out. Yeah, that depended on if he got the critical or not. I was fully aware he wasn't going to do it with normal attacks. That is a level, though, and I will gladly take the extra speed and HP. So let's go ahead and start with a Thunder spell so I can show you guys what this looks like. Thunder will probably show up in the next chapter, to be perfectly honest with you. And there you go, got a critical already. Nice. Not that we needed the critical, but... Man, those knights, they even die slowly. It looks like their neck caves in. It's kind of morbid, actually. I don't know how much damage Mia can do to this guy with an Armor Slayer. 11 times. Wow, she can actually do more than Ike can with this. Okay, that's interesting. Still, I am actually going to leave her where she is. Nobody needs healing. Ike is just missing that 1 health. I guess we'll just do this. Once again, don't really need to, but might as well. Very nice. So yeah, if you want to take a look at the map, this is the last turn. We're actually ahead 8-6 right now. Those two guys over there aren't going to be able to reach the siege spot. In fact, nobody could. I could just retreat all my units to the main area and they wouldn't be able to reach. So we've got it in the bag. Really, the only thing that will stop me from winning this turn, or satisfying the condition, would be if one of my units died, which would force me to restart the chapter. Well, not force me, unless it was Ike, but since I go through Fire Emblem games and I refuse to let any of my units die, then it would force me to restart the chapter. You can tell the CPU is acting like the game's going to continue after this turn when it's obviously not. Man, Ike almost killed that guy. Holy cow. And then they add a bunch more reinforcements here. And to be perfectly honest, these reinforcements you could take as well. You just pretty much set everybody back up how you did on turn 1. But Ike realizes that apparently there's too many units, which there's not. You could... Theoretically, you could just keep going on this map until your weapons broke, really. That would be the point where you would be screwed. Until your weapons and healing items broke and healing stats and whatnot. The funny thing is, I kind of wish that there was a map at some point, in at least one of the later games, where it was like, you can defend for as long as you want, like you can have the option to quote-unquote give up and end the chapter whenever you want, but the longer you stay around, like, the more bonus experience you get, the more experience from fighting you get, more weapon levels, etc. So, it's kind of a risk versus reward type of thing. I would love to see a map like that. Or maybe at least for an extras thing, and maybe they've already done it and I don't remember. The last Fire Emblem game I played was Awakening, but I didn't do any of the DLC or any of that junk. I kind of got bored with it after the story. I'm looking forward to the Fire Emblem game that's coming out, I think, whenever it was. It was like at the end of this year, start of next year. But we'll see whenever it actually comes out. So at this point, we're pretty much screwed, and this part will actually change right here. This knight up here will actually be the boss, had you not killed him. And the dialogue actually changed had you not killed him. But in this case, he says, "So few soldiers, and you managed to defeat our general? You fought well." No! It's the Lagoos. Prepare to get steamrolled. And then they all die. So strong, it's incredible. Actually, I don't think Leith would fare very well against a knight unit. She certainly wouldn't kill him in one round like this, or one attack. And the guys on the left run off as he dies. Oh, thanks for the help. We almost died right there. Story-wise, we almost died. If we'd actually fought, we would have been fine, but whatever. So, these are the two warriors that we will be sticking with for quite a while. This is Mordecai, Warrior of Gallia, and also Leith. Leith is actually the person in charge here, but Mordecai, while he is somewhat, like, indifferent towards humans, Leith is not at all. Mordecai also has a bit of broken English as well, because he actually speaks through a different language. Yes, Bjork, that's the actual name for human. You've got, instead of human and subhuman, it's technically Bjork and Laguz, because since subhuman's kind of a bad connotation, in a way, whenever Laguz say human, it's also a bad connotation as well. I think they mention that later on in the story, but it's much later on. And then Leith also mentions that they were actually forced into slavery, which is true. As you'll come to realize later on, the Bjork have actually warped the teachings, or the history that's been passed down, and the Laguz actually remember it correctly. And at this point, Soren pretty much picks a fight with Leith. Which, I don't know why Soren does that. Like, there's sometimes where he's, like, indifferent towards the Laguz, and sometimes where he absolutely hates them, and this is just, like, one of the points where he's just really angry at them for some reason. Maybe his biorhythm was really low, I don't know. This injury is nothing, I'm fine, after almost dying earlier. Soren, you don't have a wind spell equipped. I switched you out with fire. Which would actually be good because the Laguz take bonus damage against fire spells, so you would want to have fire rather than wind. Only the bird type Laguz will take bonus damage from wind. And so Soren kind of just runs off for... I don't know what was going on with him in that one specific chapter. I don't ever think they mentioned it either. They mentioned it more about him as a whole, but why he did that specifically, I don't think so. So after picking a fight, they actually tell you about the mission, which is to guide us to the Royal Palace. Yeah, no bonus experience. The reason for that is typically bonus experience comes from clearing a stage early, and since this was to survive for 8 turns, there was no way to clear the stage early. That's why there's no bonus experience here. So, with that being said, next time we will actually head to the Gallian capital to meet with Kanigas, who is the actual king of the, I guess the cat and tiger Laguz. The King of Gallia, I guess is the best way to say it. But enough mumbling on. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Later.